Blah, blah, blah. Whatever you say.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us for our Reddit Stories, Christmas edition. Happy holidays. And today we'll dive into the Malicious Compliance story and reactions to the post from Beer Whiskey Star Wars titled, "You Don't Have the Authority to Say No to Customers." Hi, this is Derek. I just put the Drama Llama, Fred, back in his pen so that I can do this quick video for you with some of the stuff that Fred found on Reddit earlier today. If this is your first time watching our videos, help me out by watching to the end, and then giving me some feedback in the comment area below. And if you want more of these videos daily, don't forget to like and subscribe, with notifications turned on for this channel. Oh boy, let's get ready for some deep-seated revenge. Beer Whiskey Star Wars posted, "You don't have the authority to say no to customers." Right off the bat I will start with the obligatory long-time lurker, first-time poster. I decided to finally post this after seeing the story that went viral about the lady returning the Christmas tree to the Costco earlier this month. This is a story from almost a decade ago now, when I was promoted to assistant service manager for a large chain health food grocery store. For reference as to what that actually means for our store, there were only two people who outranked myself and the two other managers at my same level. There was an assistant store director and the store director, hereafter known as SD. Our day-to-day responsibilities included making sure each department was getting all their work completed, making sure shelves were staying stocked, cashiering when necessary, counting money and making change for the registers. And most importantly to this story, approving returns. I worked super hard to get that position by learning the ins and outs of the store, and picking up shifts in every single department. When I was promoted to the position, I was the youngest person in company history to reach that level. I don't mean that as a humble brag, but just to illustrate that I did know what I was talking about on a lot of things. But I was young, so many people did not take me seriously. So like I mentioned before, it was my job to approve returns. If a customer brought in something for a return, the cashier would do all the work for the return, including checking for a receipt, figuring out what the problem was, and determining how they could make it better for the customer. Exchange, store credit, refund, etc. They would call me over at the end of the exchange. I would check to make sure it was all in order, insert a key, type in a code, and the return would go through. Now I would like to think I was a reasonable person when it came to what I would approve and not approve. If someone came back with spoiled food, I almost always gave them the benefit of the doubt that they stored it right, and it was a faulty product. Spoiler, it's almost always their fault. If someone didn't like the taste of something, I would always do the return, even when something was slightly past the expiration date. I would try to work with them and maybe give them an exchange. Where I drew the line was absolutely ridiculous things. People would do things like come in without a receipt or the product, and try to get a return saying something like, "I got some, insert food, here and it was bad so I threw it away. I'd like a return." Okay, so sorry, I'm not going to do that. Also, if you bring in something we don't even sell at our store, I'm obviously not going to return it for you. Now, like I said before, I was young at the time, so a lot of older adults wouldn't take me seriously. They couldn't understand someone so young could be the manager they wanted to speak to. So one day an irate customer wanted to speak to a manager about a return. My cashier called me, and I'd do my best to figure out how I can help them. They want a return on chicken that was 3 months expired. It smelt exactly like you would expect. My cashier was almost dry heaving from the stench. So I say in my best customer service voice, "I'm sorry ma'am, but we won't be able to do a return on this today. It's obviously way past its expiration date. If you would like, we can dispose of it for you." She wouldn't have any of it. She is now yelling about how she deserves a refund. Now we had cameras in the store, and so store director sees the commotion and comes out from his office to save the day. Please read this as sarcastically as you can. He tells the lady, "Oh, I'm sorry that he was saying we can't do a refund on this. Of course we'll do that." It didn't have a barcode, so he had no idea what it originally cost, but he gave the lady a $20 gift card to the store right there. I'm fuming at this point because he just made me look like a powerless idiot in front of a bunch of customers. But we were busy, so I keep doing my job. About an hour later he calls me into his office. I would type out the whole conversation, but it's pointless because it all boils down to him telling me multiple times explicitly that I was not allowed to say no to a return. I was to approve all returns because customer satisfaction is more important than a little lost revenue, blah blah blah. So I think this is the stupidest thing ever. But I am a good employee and I like getting paid, so I kept my mouth shut. I do think from the title and where we stand in the story up to now you can all figure out where this goes. Fast forward a few weeks and a customer comes in. During Christmas time, we had sold little 1 to 2 foot tall Christmas trees in small pots. It was now June. This lady wanted to return her Christmas tree that now made the Charlie Brown tree look full and healthy. It didn't have a single needle on it, and the trunk was rotting. Normally I would tell her in the most polite way that I could that there was no way in hell I would do that. I had specific instructions though, and I was sure as heck going to follow them. As part of the return, and while trying not to laugh, I asked her why she wanted to return it. She told me flat out, well, it didn't do what I was expecting it to. Now I don't know what she expected, but I personally don't buy a Christmas tree thinking it's going to live forever. I completed the return though, and sent her on her way. Where did I take that Christmas tree, you might ask? If you guessed straight to the store director's desk for him to find the next morning, you would be a winner. I had the next day off, but the nice note I left him explained the whole situation. The next day when I came back, he immediately called me in. I was expecting the worst because leaving it on his desk with a note was a little aggressive. But all he said was, maybe from now on you can say no sometimes. Just use your best judgment. It was one of the greatest victories ever, and took all my self-restraint not to say something sarcastic about how that should have been the case all along. Anyways, I hope you liked my first story here on Reddit. If you guys like it, I can tell you the story of how I got fired from there, sometime. Store director said don't say no to any returns. I return a dead butt Christmas tree in June and set it on his desk. He gives us back the ability to say no. Sorry that this response took so long, folks. Here is the story of how I got fired. I'm doing it as an edit instead of responding to all the different people who asked. So at any store that sells beer, there are bound to be cases where some of those beers break or get stolen. This leaves the rest of beers in that pack or case unsellable, at least for our store. I've seen lots of stores start selling make your own 6-packs to use these up. So our store policy was that all unsellable beers went into a dairy crate in the back. Whenever the dairy crate was full, any employee could buy all of the beers in the dairy crate for $10. Considering I could fit between 30 and 40 beers into a dairy crate, this was an awesome deal. Especially when the craft beers broke and the case was full of stone beer. Now at the time, I was 20 years old, legally not allowed to buy alcohol for all non-US readers. Ironically, I was the beer department manager though, so I was responsible for stocking the beer and placing the orders with the vendor. Because of this, I knew when the dairy crate was full and I knew what beers were in it. So it reached a point where I wanted to buy all of the beer in the crate. I spoke to one of the other managers at my same rank and she was cool with it and agreed to help me out. I cashiered while she went to the back, got the beer crate, paid for it herself, and took it out to her car, my car. We didn't have security cameras in the parking lots, and everything that was on camera was 100% legit. Just me selling alcohol and a legal adult buying it. Now 3 months go by, and nothing happened, so I had honestly forgotten about it. One day though, the store director calls me into his office the moment I walk into the store. He has the company president, VP, loss prevention or security boss, and the other manager who had sold me the alcohol crying in the corner in his office. She had already caved, so there was really nothing I could do. Even though nothing illegal had taken place, they were nervous about their liquor license, so I was fired on the spot. Now how did they find out about this whole thing 3 months later? Well, it turns out the third manager at my level, from now on to be called Evil Lady. Always hated the lady who helped me buy the alcohol. Now to be known as Sweet Little Old Lady. So Sweet Little Old Lady was 2 weeks away from 30 years with the company when she was fired. She was the nicest lady you ever met and every customer loved her. She was, however, not the best manager. The store didn't look as great on nights she closed. So 3 months after I bought the alcohol, Evil Lady opened the day after Sweet Little Old Lady. She was not happy about the state of the store, so that's when she decided to report us. Not the most exciting story, but I'm still super salty about it all these years later. What are your thoughts on Beer Whiskey Star Wars' revenge story? Please share in the comments below. Now let's go on to hear how some Reddit members reacted to this story. Goldfish Paws reacted with, "The refund everything, customer service is our world, is nice. But you end up attracting the quality of customer who'll try to refund everything. And they're not good business. Customers are supposed to make, not cost you money. If they're costing you money, they're not customers you want, so F service." In my country, France, we say the customer is king. In my country, France, we beheaded our kings. Yup, I've witnessed that happen. Then the poopy customer feels entitled because they got one over on you. And the BS will just continue. Consider the lost productivity that happens when you continually have to deal with poopy customers like this. Also consider the hit to morale the entire business ends up taking when you have a poopy customer come in often. They also learn they can return things that are obviously from other stores, or things they've liberated from the original purchaser, and tell all their friends. They always have dozens of friends too. I recently witnessed someone digging other people's receipts out of the trash to do just this. Or attempt to. It doesn't tend to work out well if the cart guy sees you. Used to work at a large supermarket chain as a service desk and supervisor. This was largely how we operated. Except we had to call a department manager over for refunds greater than $20. People knew this and would frequently return stuff just less than $20. It was pretty easy to spot them, and all we could do was report them to our manager and LP. But it almost always went nowhere. One lady that sticks to my memory would get stuff from a food pantry and then return it for the cash. People legit need that stuff and you're using it to just make a quick buck. It really sickened me doing the return, but there was literally nothing we could do. That is beyond awful. F that woman. Parasprite Hugger reacted with, "Well, I would expect a Christmas tree in a pot to survive with good care. Just like a poinsettia, but I'm not an arborist." Yermum reacted with, "I was to approve all returns because customer satisfaction is more important. Then a little lost revenue, blah blah blah. Bad manager with little to no real world experience as a manager is what I'd say. The customer is wrong almost every single time. The only customers you should ever allow to be wrong are the ones who are not malicious. Malicious customers aren't customers. They're detriments to your business and you have no time or service for them. These are customers that no matter how nice you end up being to them, they're going to damage your business no matter what. This is a perfect example of a bad customer you don't want. The customer in-ops story will end up costing your business money in the long run for a myriad of reasons. The customer is always right. Just means that stores should stock goods the customers want, not what the opener wants. You can't tell a customer to buy green shoes when they want brown ones. It does not mean that stores should do everything to appease a-holes. Ranting reacted with, "I hate those types of bosses. Like you, I looked young for my position. No one took me seriously and you bet your butt they always asked for a different manager." Mona Lisa 9298 reacted with, "As a business owner myself, I've learned that the customer is not always right. And that I need to back up my employees. Frankly, I'd rather lose a customer than a good employee." Well, there you have it. A perfectly great set of reactions from a bunch of upstanding citizens. Help support this channel by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. And hit that silly little bell as well to ensure you get the latest videos as they come out. Fred is always finding stuff for me to post regularly. So this is Derek signing off. Thanks for watching. Good grief, it sounds like Fred is out of his pen again. He must have found more stories for me to share with you. See you soon.